With Future State, we get to explore a whole new world of future supers, where time has passed and with it many changes have come our way. This is what makes exploring Future State so much fun, getting up to date with the many changes in our favorite superheroes' lives and uncovering and working to solve some of the mysteries that have come along with them. Welcome back, Nerd Squad! Today we'll be diving deep into DC's Future State as we count down the top 10 DC Future State biggest changes. A warning that there are a few spoilers ahead for those who have yet to read any of these comics, but I have also tried to keep them to a minimum for you all, so that you could enjoy this list and even use it perhaps as a guide to find some Future State books of interest for yourself. Alright, let's get counting. Number 10. All masks are bad. Whereas we've known the government to not necessarily condone vigilantes, they usually aren't actively hunted down by the police or federal agents. However, in Future State Gotham, we see a new status quo, one where vigilantes are seen as just as bad as the villains that they fight against. In some stories, villains are referred to as black hats and heroes are referred to as white hats, but at the end of the day, they are all the same in terms of them being masks. And that isn't good in this future at all. Masks are basically seen by Gotham's ruling forces as criminals, and Gotham is even working to make sure no one can question their authority when it comes to shooting and killing masks on sight. In fact, they've already made that a policy, though there are still some legal precedents that Gotham's police and peacekeepers need to overcome and figure out when it comes to avoiding prosecution themselves. Number 9. Harley Quinn team up. Kind of a weird one too. In Harley Quinn issue number 1, we find out that Harley has been captured by the Magistrate and is being used as a pawn and tool for Dr. Jonathan Crane, formerly known as Scarecrow. In this current climate, Scarecrow of course is no more, as masks are illegal. Harley, after being captured for being a mask, gets some time to reflect on her own alignment a bit, and I'm sure that will end up actually being her overarching journey in this story, to figure out sort of who she is and where she belongs. To start, however, she seems to be pretty balanced, or I guess kind of unbalanced, when it comes to doing both. She is tasked by Crane to use her brilliant former doctor and psychologist mind to help him find and defeat other villainous masks who have been eluding the Magistrate so that they might be imprisoned. An interesting and, for Crane, infuriating team up that will hopefully end up leading to Harley's release, escape, or hey, maybe even we'll just leave her simply as Crane's oddball but genius partner. I'm kind of down for any/all of the above. Number 8. Spoiler, the Traitor. Stephanie Brown seems to have found a new title amongst her Bat family in Future State, and that title is Traitor. Initially, Spoiler was believed to have turned her back on the Bat family, befriending various villains and leaving her heroic ways behind, then becoming captured by the Magistrate's forces and locked up. She really started focusing on survival as opposed to doing what is right, which caused her to be looked down upon by the fellow members of her Bat family. We see her and Cassandra Cain actually come to blows, fighting one another initially when they are made cellmates. It seems like there is potentially going to be a lot of tension between this very divided Bat family. Something that we don't usually see much of. Okay, well, depending on which members we're talking about. The question is if Spoiler, or Patch as we know her in Future State, has really changed sides for good. Or I mean for bad. But is it permanent? I'm gonna have to read to find out. Number 7. Wally West, the villain. As much as this should be a big change, it seems to be becoming less and less of a surprising one when it comes to Wally's character. It seems DC is obsessed with making Wally West their big bad speed villain. In Future State, we see Wally consumed by a mysterious entity known as Famine. This entity turns Wally against his friends, family, and fellow speedsters, even as they try to help him. Feeding on their speed energy, Wally breaks the connection many of them have to the Speed Force, and even in some cases takes away more than just that. I don't know why DC is obsessed with making fan favorite Wally West become a villain, but as interesting of a change as this is to his character, it's slowly becoming the modern status quo, which kinda ruins it. Also, people don't want to see Wally as a villain. Or most people don't. I don't know. Do you want to see Wally as a villain? Let me know in the comments. Number 6. Jessica Cruz. Jessica has lost her powers! You heard me right. We learned in one of the extra stories included in Future State Green Lantern issue number 1, titled The Taking of Sector 0123, that Jessica Cruz is all alone and powerless in outer space. She still has her ring with her, but is unable to use it. And the rest of that issue actually goes into that a little bit more. And it is alone that she faces a team of yellow lanterns who infiltrate the base that she has been guarding, and it is alone that she faces a team of yellow lanterns who infiltrate the base that she has been guarding and consistently maintaining all on her own for the past year. And yeah, it's a tech base, not a construct, so yeah. Fortunately for Jessica, she still has her training which she can rely on. She also won't remain without superpowers forever, likely, and you can check out the issue to learn more about what I'm hinting at there. Cruz fans especially should enjoy this story. I personally was like, this is pretty cool. I think it's my favorite one in that book, in the Green Lantern book, issue 1. I don't know. I think so. Number 5, no fraternizing. The new Justice League aren't just here with a new roster, but they also come with new rules as well. The biggest one seems to be that they aren't supposed to get to know each other, hang out, or really fraternize in any way. Heck, they don't even have a headquarters and aren't allowed to actually have any meetings. Say what? We find all this out in issue 1 of Future State Justice League, when John Kent, who is the future Superman, asks his fellow teammates if they would be interested in having a meeting. He acknowledges, however, that it breaks protocol. In fact, this team all seem to be more about doing their own thing than banding together, and often seem to get on one another's nerves. Still, despite it being against the rules, Yara and John seem to have found a bit of common ground, and have formed a friendship outside of the League. Shh, don't tell the League police. Wait, are there League police in the future? And Aquawoman and the Flash have also seemed to form some sort of a relationship. Number 4, defeat. The League we are introduced to in issue 1 ends up torn asunder pretty quickly in that first issue. Now, I don't want to spoil just how that all goes down because it's honestly, I think it's a pretty neat read in my opinion, but just a reminder to not get too attached to our new team. It seems that their new charter rule of not fraternizing does not necessarily equate to giving them more strength. Here's hoping that this defeat actually might help them to maybe amend that policy in the future and like get rid of that part of the charter. Of course, only time will tell what the Justice League's true fate ends up being. We'll have to wait for issue 2 to find out. I really like this team, so kind of hoping we see some kind of redemption for them at some point. I'm kind of hoping we get to see them, like, in, present day at some point, because I like them. I think they're cool. Number 3, the Magistrate. Gotham has a new major villain, potentially one of its greatest yet. It faces a force known as the Magistrate, who appear to have been contracted by Gotham's current future mayor, Christopher Nakano, to keep Gotham orderly. In fact, when I heard the Magistrate, I actually thought it was one person, but I don't think it's one person now. And by keep Gotham orderly, I mean impose curfews, shoot masks on sight, and arrest people who are peacefully protesting. I mean, hey, I guess they were out after curfew. The Magistrate's presence can be felt across all Bat-centric and Gotham-centered stories and books, but seems to really loom aloft in Harley Quinn and has a commanding presence in Catwoman, where Selina herself goes up against their forces on a train transporting a ton of the Magistrate's prisoners. Number 2, new Batman. With a new future comes a new Batman, something we haven't seen happen for quite some time in the comics actually. I think the last time we saw someone take up the Bat mantle actually would have been way back when Dick became Batman for a bit. But now, who should be taking over after Batman's mysterious but not actually real death? Jace. Who is Jace? Jace is also known as Tim Fox, Luke's brother. While we don't know very much about Tim as he hasn't been seen for quite some time in the comics, we do know he seems to have some very passionate motivation for taking up the mantle. In this futuristic Gotham too, where tech can easily be tracked and traced, Jace as the next Batman is forced to go without it for the most part, relying on more old school gadgets like his batarangs and his flashbangs. Flashbang. Number 1, new Wonder Woman. Of course, one of the biggest and brightest changes seems to be the addition of Yara Flor, who is seen as the new Wonder Woman in Future State. Yara first appeared in Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 7, but also has her own Future State comic subtitled Wonder Woman for people to check out. I think I can safely say she's been the most popular of the new characters introduced thus far. Yara herself is not actually from Themyscira, but from the Amazon, so really still an Amazonian when you think about it. Okay, that was a bad joke. Being from the Amazon rainforests of South America, she does not typically work alone, sometimes accompanied thus far by her winged horse Jerry and forest guardian spirit known as Kaipora. I think I said that right, Kaipora. I love Kaipora's look, by the way. I feel like I really want to do a Kaipora cosplay. Let me know what y'all think. What have been some of the biggest changes you've seen? Which ones have you loved and which ones do you find more alarming or puzzling? Let us know in the comments below. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on this. I personally have really been loving a lot of the bonus, or I guess extra stories we've been getting. In many cases, they seem to be actually even better than the main story. Also, a lot of the art and the colors showcased in Future State, like across the board, have just been fantastic. So many of these colors are really just amazingly done. As always, thank you so much for watching. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host, Amanda McKnight, reminding you to stay nerdy, YouTube.